Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Propagandacast with me, Imperial Dane. And today I have for you a 1 versus 1, yes indeed, a 1 versus 1 on Sturzdorf. And we'll be, of course, having a Sturzdorf look here. Rather dinged up town, a bit ruined. Well, it's mostly an industrial area, really, producing bricks and apparently barrels. All that sort of fun stuff, although a lot of blind spots again due to buildings. Rather making things difficult, for example, setting up defensive positions. So of course it can be hard if the enemy can just peek around a corner and then be out of sight. For example, also here we have this. And of course also a bit of cover around here. This tending to be the hotspot again, due to that sort of thing. Shortest distance between the two bases. That generally tends to be actually the hotspot of the fight. You generally don't see a huge amount of fight right over here, for example, or here, or for example, over here. It generally tends to be right between the bases. That's going to be the major fighting zone, although some maps do tend to work a bit around that, for example, Lowlands. Anyhow, so let's go have a look at our opponents in the northern corner. We are seeing Zeroangelmk1. Not quite as good as the Mark II, and certainly not the Mark V Zero Angel. Nonetheless, here he is. 3rd Infantry Division, making its way through some old Belgian industrial quarters. I wager we'll just say it's Belgium. Just a bit of a change from Normandy or Holland. Some fighting, I suppose, would have gone around here. And we are seeing olicoh of the kampfgruppe. Olicoh composed a bit of this and that. Panzer Grenadiers, SS Panzer Grenadiers, and some other troops they were able to scavenge together. So let's get straight to it, eh? We are seeing a Kettenkrad on the field as the first unit. We're also seeing flak feelings, of course. But another thing, but of course with the Panzer Elite you can either see a Kettenkrad or a Schwimmwagen, although then again that rather requires the Panzer Elite commander having Tales of Valor, since the Schwimmwagen is a reward unit. Basic difference is that the Schwimmwagen can drive through water, and it has some slightly different abilities. It can lay down incendiary mines, it can lay down regular mines, and I can't remember the third. Oh right, it can actually mark targets, making them sort of appear in the fog of war. But that's about it, really. Can have its uses, I suppose, but I rarely, if ever, seen it actually used. Fun thing. Second Kettenkrad, actually no Panzer Grenadiers coming up from the headquarters right there, while in the meanwhile we are seeing a barracks up and a jeep on the way. Bit of an unusual start here from both sides, well, at least not the regular one with lots of infantry. So we are seeing some light vehicles, very light in fact. Engineers marching out to all sides, not securing any fuel but strategic point and munitions. While the Kettenkrad went straight for this fuel and is now busy connecting it. And there we go. First Panzer Grenadier team hitting the field, while the Kettenkrads are now heading east in a small, swarm? Very tiny one in fact. So there you go. All a bit quiet at the moment. We are seeing the Willys Jeep moving out. 30 caliber mounted, air cooled, not like the heavy machine gun variant. Couldn't quite sustain the same amount of fire as the water cooled Browning. 30 caliber, or was it a Browning? I can't remember. There we go. Jeep moving in for the Kettenkrad kill, and the Kettenkrad is utterly unable to actually defend itself. Of course, Jeeps are rather nice against that, and of course are rather nice and speedy, so of course they can catch up with the Kettenkrad, which of course renders the Kettenkrad in a bit of a spot of trouble, in particular since he's lacking a sidearm to even protect himself. There we go, exposing him right there, and the Jeep moves up, moving in for the kill. But the Panzer Grenadiers are on the prowl as well, hunting down the Jeep. Which vehicle should go up in smokes first, or at least be forced away? Apparently the Jeep and not the Kettenkrads, although it looks like second Kettenkrad might be a bit exposed itself. And looks like we in fact have already a doctrinal choice. And how do I notice that? You can see it on the rear of the Kettenkrad. In this case we're seeing camouflage, meaning he's gone for Luftwaffe, which rather means that he's rather early into the game already gone for doctrinal choice. But then you're asking, well, how do I spot if it's something else? Well, in case he's gone tank destroyer, you'll notice a lot of repair equipment, or at least a bit. And if he's gone for scorched earth, you'll notice explosives. Rather a bit of a handy tool there to keep track of what your opponent's gone for in terms of doctrine. Hope you will find some use of that. But the Kettenkrad is coming under quite a bit of fire from the Jeep. Kettenkrad meant as a small tractor able to pull things. Was in fact used to taxi aircraft as fuel became a bit more precious during the war. Was originally meant to sort of pull artillery and such for Fallschirmjäger forces as they landed, and those Kettenkrats will then be sent in via glider to support. Fun stuff. Panzer Grenadiers marching out in larger numbers, while American forces are solidifying their hold in the west. The Jeep sort of being a bit of harassment here in the east, drawing away all the Panzer Grenadier forces from the west. Not a bad move. Of course, that rather depends on if that was actually his intention or he's just trying to be a nuisance with it. In which case, he's also doing a pretty good job. But oh dear, he's ending it right up in a hornet's nest of Panzer Grenadiers. Jeeps are not really meant to sustain that much fire, so we really need to get it out of there before it goes up in smoke and fire. There we go, getting out of there. Good for a bit of reconnaissance, good for having a bit of an idea what's going on. And looks like these engineers are waving through those Kettenkrats and putting a stop to them with their grease guns. That could actually end up rather badly for those Kettenkrats if they do not evacuate very swiftly. Otherwise, those submachine guns will do nasty things. Second rifleman team arriving, although the Jeep is still looking pretty bad. Panzer Grenadiers moving through, and looks like this Kettenkrat might go up in smoke. In fact, it will go up in flames as a flamethrower sets upon it. Panzer Grenadiers moving in from the south, and my goodness, this Kettenkrat is really holding out the fire. Despite, there we go. Could not survive that much longer, and the flamethrower is now firing at the Panzer Grenadiers, but the Panzer Grenadiers have gotten a Gewehr 43 and Zeroangelmk1 rather wisely pulls out his 3rd Infantry Division engineers rather than losing them. Good job then, particularly since he had a flamethrower, and that's a bit of a bad move here. Why do I say this? Because there's absolutely no windows in this angle. There are plenty of windows here, but as you might be noticing, the enemy is not here, nor is he there. He is in heavy cover right there, meaning he's in fact just getting riflemen killed for no good reason. Yes, he's delaying it, but at the same time he's doing absolutely no damage, meaning he's not really going to be gaining much from it. In fact, those Panzer Grenadiers will be gaining veterancy, and it looks like these Panzer Grenadiers in fact coming under fire on the wrong side of that red Kettenkrat, whilst on the other hand these riflemen are in a nice spot here, slightly in a slower section under heavy cover. Riflemen getting torn apart by the Panzer Grenadiers, further Panzer Grenadiers in fact hitting the field, and a Kampfgruppe company as well. So 4 Panzer Grenadier teams, 2 Kettenkrats and a infantry half-track, although one of those Kettenkrats went up in fire and smoke. More Gewehr 43s being equipped for the Panzer Grenadiers, and looks like these riflemen will really need to get out of there. There we go, getting out of this small work barracks, getting out of there, but that was again rather foolhardy, I feel, and these engineers are not going to be faring much better. In fact, now they're getting surrounded by the Panzer Grenadiers. I have no idea why Zeroangel is continually throwing in his men there, and I have no idea why he isn't taking this fuel point either. Bit of an odd choice there, and flamethrowers for the engineers, but they are not going to be able to use it actually, and they might not even get back to base. Jeep charging in, guns blazing, and what is this? We are seeing a mortar half-track up. One of the many half-track variants. Both the light half-track and the medium one in fact had a mortar variant. There were also AT variants, some light, some heavier, and some other fun bits. I do believe the Mittler Schützenpanzerwagen, or the one used by the Wehrmacht, in fact also had an anti-aircraft gun variant. And yes, we are seeing engineers getting reinforced and getting ready. Riflemen also, BARs on the way. And the mortar is blasting away, not looking good for Zeroangelmk1, who's a bit pushed into his space, while the forces of Kampfgruppe olicoh is pushing onwards, or are pushing onwards, I suppose would be the proper grammar. Jeep once more getting repaired. It's really getting dinged up, but it is being a bit of a nuisance, I suppose. And of course this mortar half-track will provide a bit of nice fire support for the German forces. Engineers marching forwards, flamethrowers in hand, BARs in hands of the riflemen. And what do we see here in the Panzer Elite base? We are seeing a Panzerjäger command. We'll most likely be seeing some sort of armored car. Oh dear, that could really end up ruining Zeroangelmk1's day if it catches him on the wrong foot. Riflemen engaging the mortar half-track. The mortar half-track a bit exposed, and what does it do? It drives right past them and towards the Panzer Elite base. The Kampfgruppe engaging these riflemen, saving up the half-track, but those Panzer Grenadiers are not looking good. In fact, they will have to retreat themselves, and they are getting torn apart by automatic fire. They are semi-automatic. Gewehr 43s not being able to respond in quite as hefty a manner. In the meanwhile, this Kettenkrat is cloaking up, but it does have to be aware that if those riflemen get close enough, it's going to mean absolutely bollocks. And there we go, getting gunned down. In the meanwhile, riflemen are getting torn apart by Panzer Grenadiers as they charge ahead. Panzer Grenadiers, though, at the same time suffering some losses, and again, The general idea is not to charge your men across open ground into troops waiting for you with automatic weapons. Experience in World War I show that was a pretty bad idea. In fact, that was rather the idea behind Blitzkrieg, so you sort of decrease the amount of time in being exposed to automatic weapons fire and generally make it less effective. Looks like these Panzer Grenadiers are getting torn apart out in the open again, or at least in light cover, but again, not doing too well, and he's charging right at those BARs. Mortar round landing, though, doing extraordinary casualties to these riflemen. Goodness gracious, good job there for those mortar teammates. And the armored car is out. Sonderkraftfahrzeug 22, I believe, or was it 223? One had the autocannon, the other one had the machine gun upgrade. Generally, and there we go, blasting away with its auto cannon, firing away at those engineers, beating up plumes of dirt, and those engineers are really being hunted down. Or no, the armored car decides he's got better things to do. Perhaps he's got a bit of bratwurst or sauerkraut in that armored car and would rather enjoy that. And we are seeing some riflemen sneaking about in the east, harassing there. Good job, rather denying the Panzer Elite Commander and the Kampfgruppe itself territory and resources. But what is this? The armored car is on the move. Or at least it seems to be, but it's rather indecisive in it. The route taken, driving behind some wrecked old Opel Blitz trucks, crashing into the factory and slowing down there. Apparently the driver is a bit drunk, or perhaps he's suffering from food poisoning, who knows. But there we go, engaging these riflemen who are taking a point and thus will be a lot more exposed, take more fire. And my goodness, he's not putting them out in there, and now the armored car just tears through them. Riflemen taking absolutely horrific losses. 4 men cut down in seconds. The last one making a heroic dash for it as the armored car continues to fire away. Tracer rounds flying through the air and barely missing. We are seeing the Jeep maneuvering about in the north, and we are seeing a motor pull up as well, and no armored car. Instead, we are seeing the half-track on the way. What could this mean? What could this mean indeed? Will he be going for the quad upgrade, which might actually have a decent chance against Panzer Elite vehicles? Only time will tell, but we are seeing a Panzer support command coming up as well, and a nice congregation of Panzer Grenadiers. Nothing else though. And this mortar half-track standing about a bit unsure as what to do, facing a Jeep and with nothing to actually defend it. And what is this? Numerous armored cars preparing in the east. In fact, most of the remnants making out of there in Normandy and the whole Falaise Gap Watch were in fact mostly armored vehicles of the lighter sort. Not many tanks made it out there, but armored cars in fact in a greater deal made it out there. In fact, large part of what, for example, the 10th SS had was in fact armored cars and such. But there we go, fighting here, engineers scorching away, but not the right fight to choose really. It looks like one engineer team might be cut down. No, both engineers barely make it out there, but not without their comrades. Armored cars changing down riflemen, and this Jeep is not looking good either. And looks like these riflemen are torn apart, dropping down a BAR, and Panzer Grenadiers being equipped with assault rifles. Apparently having managed to fall upon a small supply here in the industrial quarters, as the wehrmacht had a tendency of laying down small supply depots across the terrain, so there was always something ready to be chosen. Of course, sometimes they'd be forced to destroy them as they were forced to retreat faster than that. But there we go, quad upgrade for the half-track, and in fact I do believe it's time to shift over to olicoh and his Kampfgruppe. What is he doing? Of course we are aware he is going for Luftwaffe. Panzer Grenadiers getting ready, and looks like the armored cars are charging into the base, tearing through riflemen as though they were paper, and they might as well be facing those auto cannons. Half-track just doing absolutely nothing. Offensive infantry, but my goodness, those armored cars are taking quite a bit of damage. One is already out of control. The second one getting shot to hell, and there we go. And firing up the engine as well. My goodness, that was just a waste of munitions. Crashing into the motor pool. That was a rather unfortunate loss, and now he's charging in his Panzer Grenadiers. What's gone wrong with him? Why is he assaulting the base with units that were not made for that? In particular, those armored cars, and now he's suffering absolutely heavy losses. 2 armored cars right out the window and into the gutter. That was absolutely terrible. And now Fallschirmjägers are being made ready. We'll of course have to see if they will be able to change the tide here. Still not pick up that BAR. That's also a pretty bad thing, in fact. And the half-track is getting immobilized. engine is blown to bits. It is on fire, and apparently the front wheel has been lost as well. That half-track shall not be making any turns, although this anti-tank half-track really needs to get out of there, getting blasted apart by lots of automatic fire, and oh dear, his unit preservation skills really seems to have gone right down the gutter all of a sudden. This half-track though isn't looking too well either. Mortar firing away. Will it knock out the half-track, or will it just fire at some riflemen, or at least hope it does? BAR still not being picked up, and we are hearing the engagement sounds as Fallschirmjägers are popping out here of this battle factory, firing away at these riflemen. Who shall be the victor? I do not know, but we are seeing further engagement here. Riflemen picking up a BAR, in fact gaining 3-1, going down to mortar shrapnel fire. And the Fallschirmjägers still blasting away here from inside the building, shooting at these riflemen, but not having much luck. In fact, one goes down, as they do their best, but it is simply not enough. It looks like Wehrmacht forces are pulling back here. The Kampfgruppe not doing very good on any fronts. FG-42s now being upgraded right here. Another Fallschirmjäger is killed, falling down into the debris inside the factory. Meaning only 2 are left, but now the riflemen really are getting it shown to them as the FG-42s just blast away. Down to 2 riflemen. Probably soon down to 1. And there we go, only 1 rifleman. Will he survive? Yes, no, yes, no. Apparently yes. At the same time we are seeing an anti-tank gun proceeding slowly. Half-track is repaired, good job there. We are seeing a mortar half-track, and of course a second anti-tank half-track. Rather interestingly, mortar half-track, American half-track charging in with its AA guns, but coming under fire from the anti-tank half-track. Immobilized once more. The wheels are once more blown to bits, and once more the engine is also blown to bits. Shall this be the end, or will it make it out of there once more? Firing away, and oh dear, these Panzer grenadiers are out in the open against an anti-tank or anti-aircraft gun, and they are getting pinned, suppressed, and killed. Not looking good at all, although it looks like it has a heavy reload time, and the anti-tank half-track is lost. And the half-track just continues to fire away. These Panzer grenadiers are now all suppressed. Mortar half-track doing damage. Anti-tank gun firing away, and looks like all of these Panzer grenadiers are retreating. Veterans, you 1 up for the half-track. Good job there. Although that mortar half-track might be able to take it out there with a good barrage. We'll of course have to see if that shall be the case. Riflemen reinforcing from it. And a direct hit, blowing the half-track to smithereens. Not looking good for Zeroangelmk1. I do believe it's time for the mid-game analysis. What is the current situation? Currently, the kampfgruppe olicoh has been pushed back into the base. His Panzer is looking awfully beat. He's lost a lot of his light vehicles. He's lost armored cars, anti-tank half-tracks in plenty of numbers, while the losses he's been able to inflict and the American commander at this stage haven't been too great either, although he does manage to blow apart some riflemen and an anti-tank half-track. But really, currently he's forced onto the back foot, and he really needs to press forward, and he really needs to control his losses a lot better. He can't keep up this rate of losses, or if he's trying to at least get a Bergtiger and repair some of those lost vehicles. But we'll of course have to see, and he really needs to clear out those anti-tank guns. But for Zeroangelmk1, things are looking pretty decent. Holding a lot of the map right now, having forced some rather heavy casualties on the German commander. And he's got more on the way. Of course, some mines or a medic station would be a pretty good idea, actually. But we'll have to see, and in fact, let's return to the action and see how it goes. Marder 3 on the way. In the meanwhile, we are not seeing much here in the area around here, although currently it seems like only 1 victory point is in the hands of anyone. The other 2 are utterly neutral. But there we go, Fallschirmjäger securing the eastern one. Central one hasn't been taken. Apparently this territory is rather virgin, at least for this battle.
Jaeger Command is now available to aid our worthy cause.
And the Marder 3 is now accessible. Might have accidentally said it was actually being produced, but it was not. It was being researched. We'll of course have to see what this means for the Panzer Elite. Although I can't help but feel that the Marder 3 is not what is needed at the moment. Perhaps something like, I don't know, a Panzer 4 or a Hotchkiss to lead the front. There's not really an awful lot of allied armor or even armored cars, and the half-track can be dealt with by, say, a Panzer 4 or a Hotchkiss. It's those anti-tank guns and all that infantry which is the trouble. Not any sort of American armor which has really not been able to present itself in vast numbers, and I can't help but feel that Olicoh is rather reacting in a wrong manner to this, and now he's sending in the Kettenkrad. Oh dear, generally when you send in your Kettenkrad as a scout, you don't send him right into the enemy. I mean, he's going to see that when there's a Kettenkrad right in front of his nose. So don't do that, that's just really stupid reconnaissance. And in these we are seeing riflemen pushing through here, Jägers are gone. Panzer grenadiers are reacting rather swiftly, but will it be enough? Logistic company is completed, but what he intends to do with it is beyond me. In fact, I have absolutely no idea what's going through his head at the moment. And could it be that Olicoh has suffered from some sort of breakdown and is just sending in his troops without caring much for them? Not getting any sort of armor, or what is going through his curious little head? Half-tank presiding menacingly over things, and Panzer grenadiers charging in, but riflemen moving in with engineer support, and these chaps will need to get out of there. And there we go, retreating assault rifles, Gewehr 43s and everything else. Looks like things will not be looking good for these chaps either, and veterans are for some of these troops. Apparently some Gewehr 43s gaining a bit of infantry there, and the American forces are forced into a retreat from the east, meaning the Panzer Grenadiers can secure it if they so choose so. In the meanwhile, riflemen are pushing through here. Might be wanting to drop a sticky bomb on this mortar half-track. And he actually got away with it. And oh dear, this Kettenkrad is lost. Jeep charging in, and things are not looking good for this mortar half-track, but this Jeep is moving straight into the Hornet's nest. Anti-aircraft gun firing, blasting away, and looks like this Jeep will not survive much longer. There we go, that was an absolute waste of a good Jeep. Jägers moving in from the north, getting a nice ambush drop there on the riflemen, and looks like these Panzer grenadiers are sneaking in from the north as well. But why he is charging directly out of this half-track is beyond me. There's absolutely nothing to regain, and there we go. He realizes this is actually a pretty stupid venture, and retreats faster than you could possibly imagine. Possibly realizing he might soon find himself with an eastern front posting for these sort of tactics. And now we are seeing Luftwaffe troops arriving on the field, but I don't feel they might actually provide the killing thrust against this half-track. And it looks like this anti-tank gun will be recruited once more. Luftwaffe troops advancing for some reason, but now pulling back again. Kettenkrad doing not much. Panzer grenadiers, not the Luftwaffe troops, are repairing the half-track. Seems a bit of a waste of time and good troops. Jägers moving towards the east once more, hoping to secure a victory point. Now the Luftwaffe troops seemingly are just hanging about right here. Not entirely sure what it is that is expected from them. Panzer grenadiers are ready to move out, so is the mortar half-track. In fact, it's been over-repaired, meaning it can take a bit more damage than a regular mortar half-track. And there seems to be nothing really going on. The German commander seems to have lost all hope and initiative. It just seems to be terrible. Mission completed. Target is ours. Half-track sneaking about, so is the Kettenkrad. And once more charging across on the ground, apparently going for increased squad sizes, which won't really help him against that half-track and all that other automatic fire. Again, why he's going for all of this is absolutely incredible. Panzer grenades getting torn apart, and grenades flying at the Panzer grenadiers, but instead kills riflemen. That was a rather bit of a waste of munitions there. In fact, let's return to Zeroangelmk1. Half-track doing quite a bit of damage, killing Panzer grenadiers left and right. Meanwhile, looks like these Jägers are getting torn apart by the riflemen. A killed squad moving in, executing all of these Jägers. That was a rather unfortunate loss there. And we are seeing a supply yard upgrade number 2. That's a bit interesting. No armored cars, which could actually leverage the situation even more for Zeroangelmk1, considering again that his opponents had absolutely no real anti-tank assets, and that is until, of course, the Luftwaffe steal that anti-tank gun which was left behind. pressing it into German service, while the rest of the Luftwaffe troops are getting out of there. And these panzer grenades are doing absolutely nothing. That's pretty terrible. And in the meanwhile, no one's taking this victory point either, meaning rather currently the German victory points are draining most swiftly.
The enemy is down to 300 points.
Looks like these panzer grenades are now taking territory, but they're doing so in a rather exposed position, far away from friendly troops. Defensive veterancy too, making them rather tough, but not tough enough as the BAR is continuing to fire, and now he's moving them back right into the arms of the automatic equipped troops. Oh, bloody hell. Someone really needs a beating, and there we go. Assault team is lost. Panzer grenadiers with assault rifles are torn apart. That was absolutely disgraceful, and now this anti-tank gun is left behind, forced to retreat, but again gunned down while these panzer grenadiers with only 2 men left are trying to hold back all these riflemen who are now getting into that building, which is again is not a good point, although they are looking a bit better now. Mortar rounds landing on the work barracks. Riflemen pushing through in the north. Anti-tank gun cleared out. Half-track moving in. Another armored car is out. My goodness. It really seems to be reacting in every possible wrong manner. Mortar rounds seemingly landing among the American troops here, but they are pushing onwards, and looks like, oh dear, this mortar half-track is now exposed. Veterans, 2 riflemen dropping their sticky bombs from far away. And I doubt this mortar half-track will be surviving much longer. Damaged engine, and now the half-track moves in for the kill, opening up with its quad-mount gun. Mortar half-track blown to bits, leaving behind only these panzer grenadiers. Kettenkrab moving towards the east. Riflemen moving in the east as well, the southeast. And this is really looking to fall utterly apart for the Kampfgruppe olicoh, while Zeroangelmk 3rd Infantry Division is pushing onwards. And we are seeing veterancy 3 riflemen, 2 teams of veterancy 3 riflemen. That's just absolutely fiendish, and those Luftwaffe troops felt the pain, killed amongst the trees. There shall be no peace for them, or well, there shall be, but it's going to be rather the eternal one rather than the one involving beer and lovely maidens. Armored car moving in, not entirely sure why he's wanted to do that. In fact, it's getting torn apart, and using veterancy 3 infantry to recruit that anti-tank gun. That could really end up badly. Instead, there we go, cleared out, and that could also end up badly. In fact, losing a veterancy 3 rifleman team, that seems to be a bad move. And now he's getting a Marder 3. About damn time, and awfully slow about it. Opening up on this half-track, and now the anti-tank gun is getting recruited, opening up on the Marder 3. Half-track out of control. That is the 2nd half-track lost, and looks like this Marder 3 tank hunter will have to get out of there. And what shall be coming out of the motor pool? Perhaps a 3rd replacement half-track. Could be interesting. And there we go. 3rd Infantry Division apparently rather relying heavily on the half-tracks to write a mobile core for reinforcing troops and giving them lots of fire support against panzer grenade charges. In fact, it's doing pretty well in that job there. So that's certainly something I'd keep note of if I was fighting against the Panzer Elite and seeing an awful lot of panzer grenadiers. Then, for example, going for this sort of configuration that is a half-track with the quad mount would not be an entirely bad idea. And this anti-tank gun is left behind enemy lines. Panzer grenadiers charging ahead. Flamethrower engineers and riflemen moving in from the north. It looks like this anti-tank gun will not make it out of there. In fact, looks like these engineers are getting pinned down. Half-track moving in. And grenades flying at the panzer grenadiers, but the panzer grenadiers dodge the grenade, opening up. And we are seeing Jägers opening up from this work barracks, forcing back the engineers. Anti-tank gun could be recruited and turned against its former masters once more. Then again, he might not be keen on that. Marder 3 not looking good either, and he will be needing something to repair, perhaps some Luftwaffe troops. And he recruits the anti-tank gun with his panzer grenadiers. Yeah, that's about 120 manpower right there, and of course going to leave those panzer grenades out in the fight for quite a bit. He really needs to retreat those. Come on and retreat those as well, which will of course mean that he will currently only have Jägers to hold the front line. And we are seeing some Luftwaffe troops arriving. Oh dear, this is really looking to be a bad mix of everything. Jägers laying in ambush. rather frontally and forward, but without anything to really fall back to. So once they discover, they might be in a lot of trouble, in particular since there's virtually 3 riflemen. There we go, Fallschirmjägers opening up from their hidden spot behind the wall and getting torn apart in turn. Fallschirmjäger turned to a bloody mist in seconds, some catching on fire and bits. And there we go, riflemen charging ahead, and it was a total loss for the Kampfgruppe, unable to hold them here in this Belgian industrial town. The American 3rd Infantry Division pushes forward, hunting down the rest of the wehrmacht as it flees towards the lines in Holland. So there you go. What can we learn from this? Well, an American half-track with a quad-mount upgrade is actually a pretty decent weapon if you're facing an opponent with lots of infantry. It was really able to suppress them and keep them pinned down, do a bit of damage there. Of course, one thing that could have been nice would, for example, seen some mines or barbed wire. Otherwise, pretty nice there. Also, an armored car could have been nice, but you know, otherwise, pretty good. Good usage of its infantry, good usage of grenades. Supplying other upgrades wasn't bad either, but again, mines. For the Panzer Elite Commander, things were not really good. He did alright with the Panzer grenades in the beginning, but then things sort of fell apart when he lost 2 armored cars in a foolhardy attempt on attacking the American base. He then lost some Panzer grenadiers, although not entire squads, and he lost 2 anti-tank half-tracks as well in short succession. I mean, really, he was terrible at keeping his vehicles operational, which was pretty terrible. And then the way he actually handled things almost from there didn't do too well either. His force disposition was terrible, and generally didn't do too well either. But really, the loss of half-tracks and armored cars early on was pretty devastating, and probably was part of the loss, but also the mentality behind it. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this fight. If you did, why not subscribe or tell your friends? And if you didn't, well, why not send in a replay of your own? This is Imperial Dane saying, remember to preserve your units. Cheers.